Good morning, Rabbi.
Morning, Joe.
As we speak, the United States is pulling troops from Afghanistan. And it leads me to wonder, as all the questions go back and forth about what's going to happen to the country, and why is it that we ever felt that we could fix anything by going in and conquering a country? And if we beat them, if we hit them hard enough, if we beat them hard enough, if we bomb them hard enough, they will change their minds and love us. How does that work? Is that segue with good Jewish thinking?
It's fascinating because this may be a second recording as well, because a really neat subject, and it's never worked. It's always failed. Let's start by addressing from the Torah. And when Joshua enters Canaan, God commands first you're to ask for peace. You don't attack anybody. You go to the town, the village, wherever it is, and you make peace with them. If they don't want to make peace with you, then unfortunately, we're going to have to conquer the land, and it's going to lead to war. And so we have, with the entrance into Canaan, there are places that have peace and things are good. And then there's the battle in Jericho. There are places where wars take place. And the first is to make peace and then to see. But we may want to delve into that if people would like and further. But something else really came to mind when you said that. I was walking through our community garden, and we have a 40 by 40, 30 by 40, which is much too big for tomatoes and cucumbers, but it's plenty. So I was walking into our community garden, and as I'm walking, I'm waving and saying hello to the other gardeners. And I realized, I just walked by, I think they were Japanese. And then I hear them talking. They were Japanese. And then over on my left, I waved to someone else in their garden. They waved back. They were Vietnamese. And then it's like, there's the Korean. And someone right there, there's they're not Vietnamese, not Chinese, not Korean. Right next to him, we're always talking about our vegetables in our garden. And as I walked, listened, and looked, I realized that we had been to war with the country that these people were from. We had killed their family members. Their family members had killed Americans. And here we are in our community garden. And there are 5 sheds around the garden, and each one's color-coded. And it has all our tools. It has shovels. It has wheelbarrows. It has things I have no idea what they're for. And I kind of watched someone take them and see what they do with them. So I could see, I could use that. It's a useful tool. And they're all color-coded. We wipe them off, put them back. It's wonderful. We're all in this garden together, growing vegetables. And all of us at one time were enemies with the goal of beating each other into submission. And I'm looking and I'm listening and I'm thinking, this is absurd. Why can't we just have a garden? Why can't we mix with each other? Why can't we talk to each other? No amount of beating up other people has ever worked. It's never worked.
Well, it may have worked for a short time, but it never made them like you. It always made them try to beat you later on.
Right. And it fell up, but the regimes fell apart. That's what I mean by it didn't work. So something was successful for a few years, but tear down that wall. The wall in Berlin came down. It's just not it's not even a good or bad way. It just doesn't work. You end up with things. Look, Germany is a shining democracy. And under some of our policies, Germany was the light of democracy. And look at what Germany was before. And look at how we treated, and then look at how Germany has handled the history with the Holocaust. And they've done incredible things. And there was incredible bombings and wars and disasters. Look at where we are now. And that's what I was thinking while I'm in my garden and waving or talking just casually. And none of us picked up our gardening tools and went after somebody else because their garden was better or worse. There's no jealousy. We have one of the least garden-looking gardens, especially when we walk through and you compare to people, go, oh my God, how did they do that? Why aren't there tomato bushes, shrubs? Why aren't there things, and why is there a bunny in my garden eating my tomatoes? And you look around, and that's what I kept. And then I went back to when I was at Perry Point as a chaplain for 40 years, neuropsychiatric hospital, VA. Tony and I went into the PX, the canteen, the retail store, and Tony's in his wheelchair, and we're looking at clothes. Kind of a more pastime, something we buy things, sometimes you just schmy around. So we're looking at stuff, we're picking it up. And we just picked up a shirt, looked at the label, made in Vietnam. I looked at Tony. Tony looked down at his legs. He said, I lost them in Vietnam. And we looked at the shirts. And I said, what do you think? He said, why don't you get that one? I like that one for you. Go ahead, chaplain. Get that shirt. And I said, Vietnam? He said, if we had only opened up a PX in Vietnam and sold blue jeans and shirts, maybe I would have my legs. And that's what came to mind while I was walking through the garden, waving and saying hello, remembering the Korean War and the hordes of Chinese who charged, and we mowed them down. We killed them. And I thought of the First World War with the machine gun. The same machine gun shot down French, Germans, and Americans. Each country bought from the same manufacturer, same machine gun. And I'm thinking, maybe we should open a PX. Maybe we should have a garden. How is it possible to get those in power to start thinking not about beating people into submission, but about cooperating, living together, doing things together? Even friendly competition would be fine. I was watching golf the other day, both the PGA and the women's golf. And the golfers are from all over the universe. They're all playing golf. No one's running around hitting someone over there with their golf club, because the answer may be opening up some retail stores, opening up a garden, and opening up golf courses. And then maybe if we can get our leaders and our people to stop using hate as a tool to get us to attack others, maybe then we would have a better place to live. But that's what was running through my mind in the community garden, with all our different nationalities, flashing back to being with Tony, and then thinking about, what is it that we need to do, Joe, in order to stop what doesn't work, hasn't worked historically, and doesn't build empires, and it doesn't lead to trade and commerce, doesn't lead to happy people.
Well, anyone who's been to the Outer Banks for vacation knows that they sell T-shirts with a pirate motif that says, the beatings will continue until morale improves. One of my favorite ones. But one thing I know for sure is that you can't beat your advice, Rabbi. Although I've yet to taste one of your tomatoes. I'm looking forward to that soon.
Well, when we were there this morning, I looked in the bush. There's a beautiful tomato, and there's a bite taken out of it. And we have a fence around it. We have a high fence around it. We have barriers into the ground. And bunnies can't jump that high, but they're getting in. And I see the deer leaning over other people's fences. So we put a little higher on ours for the deer. But I'll get you a tomato that no one else has taken a bite out.
And the tomatoes taste just as good with little bites out of them. So
Just a little bite out.
Well, thank you very much, Rabbi.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.